The return up for Parlow, leaves it off, here's Mia Hamm, in the box, the shot, goal! She's got the record!
Hey everyone, my name is Sabria Whitaker and I'm the founder of Grow the Game.
Erica Pioncastelli here, Tokyo 2021 Olympian.
This is Carly Jackson, professional goaltender for the Buffalo Buttes.
Hey everyone, this is Connor Moore, the social media manager of the Chicago Sky.
For the first time in franchise history, the Chicago Sky are WNBA champions.
You are now listening to
Women's Sports Matter.
Women's Sports Matter.
Hosted by Gianna Belcastro.
Arike Ogunbowale wins the national championship for Notre Dame.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Women's Sports Matter, a podcast that is your one-stop shop for all things women's sports. My name is Gianna Belcastro, and I am your host. Today, we are talking all things Red Stars with one of my favorite Red Stars accounts on Twitter. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name's Logan Tessmer. I run the at Red Stars report on Twitter. I write a lot of previews, match recaps, and then I just live tweet the games, interact with the community, have fun with it, and just talk about the team that I love.
We love the Red Stars here. I'm a little biased when it comes to tweeting about things for the NWSL on my podcast account. It's just like, first and foremost, it's Red Star stuff. Whether it's good or bad stuff, which recently it's been a lot of bad, but now more true. So it's been more like good things that are going on, like yesterday's win, which will be a win from 2 days ago if people are listening to this on Tuesday, which they should be. They should always be listening when I post,
and always
the
watching
day
the
of.
Red Stars
and always watching the Red Stars. So my first question for you is, what prompted your Twitter account? How did you get into the Red Stars, the women's soccer world, all that?
Well, like anyone or most women's soccer fans, my pathway came through the women's national team. That's just kind of how most of the community kind of found their way. And I started watching the women's team in 2012 Olympics, and fell in love with Alex Morgan and all the Abby Wambach, all the famous women's national team players. Watched them win gold. That was exciting. Didn't even think like, where could I watch more? It was just that was cool. And then moved on. And then, 2015 World Cup came around, watched that, loved it. 16 Olympics was interesting. That's usually where most of my love for women's sports came from, was watching the Olympics. And then 2019 came around, World Cup. And watching that whole tournament was amazing. And I loved Alyssa Nair. I was like, this is the greatest goalkeeper that I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, where can I see more of her? And they were like, Chicago Red Star, Alyssa Nair. I was like, Chicago Red Star. I was like, who are the Chicago Red Stars? And I now looking back, I'm ashamed that they had been around for 6 years at that point, and I had never heard of them. Being, someone who loves all things Chicago sports, had never heard of them until 2019. And caught games in 19, didn't know how those watch or destroy the NWSL. And then when COVID happened, I watched the Challenge Cup 2020, and I was like, I'm going to get involved in this community, and like watching every single game of the Red Stars, watched the whole Challenge Cup, and 2021 rolls around, watched the 2021 game, kind of just, lurking in the community, didn't really get involved in it. And then they make it all the way to the finals, which I don't think anyone really kind of expected, especially in the playoffs when everyone was injured. And then the season was, ramped down, and then it was, all the scandal and everything happened with their head coach, and players got traded away. And I was like, there's a lot, going on with this team now. And in my day job, I do a lot of writing for social media, and I do a lot of writing on the web, which is part of my job. My other parts of my job is like producing and editing and all that stuff. And I wanted to just write about the team, show my thoughts, and kind of get more involved. And so I just found a sports blogging site, just started writing, and then put the articles up on my personal Twitter. And I was like, well, no one's really going to see any of this. Like, I don't have like a huge following on my personal Twitter because I don't really tweet much. And if I do, it's just about like other sports things or my other interests. So I made a Twitter account for, Red Stars Report, and immediately just, started interacting with people, and people reading my stuff and having conversations. And it just made me fall in love with the team even more, because there were more people that loved them like I did. Obviously, there's so many people that have been watching them for so many more years than me, who have way more things to say, and probably way better things to say than I do. But it was just something that kind of just came into my brain one day, and I was like, I just want to get involved in this community. And now here I am with, a lot of people that I talk to every day about the Red Stars, and it's fun.
I love talking about the Red Stars. It's a nice community to be a part of, and to know people in local 134. And one thing that I like a little bit is some of the players like follow the podcast account back, and I get to interact with them, and that's like, I think that's so freaking cool, is just the interaction. Oh, yeah. Which I love so much. Yeah. I like how you talked about how you didn't know about the team. I live like 15 minutes away from Benedictine, and I had no idea that the Red Stars played there. Wow. So it's just like knowing that a professional soccer team is playing nearby you, and you have no idea. It's just like mind blowing. But I didn't get into women's sports until high school. Like the only thing that I followed for the beginning of my life was the White Sox. Love the White Sox. My mom's side of the family are huge White Sox fans. Mm-hmm. Been going to games since I was little. So that was basically the only thing on my radar. And then middle school was the Utah Jazz, which is like so out of left field. Like no one understands that. I would just like to say I'm a huge Gordon Hayward fan. And so that era happened. And when I got into high school, I played on my freshman girls basketball team, and I got into the WNBA because Allie Quigley went to my high school. And so like learning about that, and learning about like other players that have gone on to play like Division I college basketball, and to learn about other different sports. It's like, oh, okay, there's other things out there that I had no idea. And so I think learning that Allie Quigley went to my high school was like, oh, what are these women's sports, like these women's pro sports things, and how do I get more involved? And so I created this podcast my senior year of high school during the pandemic, because what else are you gonna do during the pandemic?
That's exactly what
and it's grown into this weird little like community, I guess, of 800 something people on Twitter, and get to talk about women's sports and have a good time. But I little similar with me. 2015 World Cup final, and then an NWSL game or two, I want to say in like 2018, 2019 on TV that I watched, and then the World Cup, which I've talked about on here before, and probably an episode I did by myself a few years ago, or not a few years ago, probably last year. And Sam Kerr's my favorite, will be. I'm a Chelsea fan as well, so I was I'm not even mad. I was mad at first, and I was like, well, she's a blue now, so I can get behind that. And yeah, the World Cup probably made me more excited about women's soccer. And if I did not pay attention to that, I don't know if I would consider myself a soccer fan. So just, I think especially with the US women's national team winning, and with a lot of breakout stars, and even with breakout stars with other countries too, that really helped me learn about the sport, learn about these different like federations, and how they treat their players. And it's just you can learn so much from like a dumb little event like the World Cup, where it's just like you can learn more about just your home country. And I think more importantly, the French national team, the English, and the most surprising with the World Cup final against the Netherlands. Just want to ask you really quickly, did you expect the Netherlands to make it to the final in the World Cup?
No. I don't think
I had no.
You
I thought
always
maybe,
expect, the big, the big countries, America, Canada,
France,
England. France. Yep.
Now I would consider them, the Netherlands, a threat.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
They've built a great team.
Yeah, and now they got Parsons in charge, so that it's going to be a great Euros. The Euros this summer are going to be exciting. I'm excited to watch it, to cover it, hopefully, if I'm not busy doing baseball stuff. But also if I'm not busy going to Red Stars games, which is like
I don't live anywhere close to Chicago anymore, so I don't get to
that's too bad. You don't get to experience. I went to the Challenge Cup game against Louisville, where it was pouring.
The rainy one with the 0-0.
I was like, I just sat in here with outside front row, right near the flag by Gate C, I guess, like over there on the right part of the stadium. And I sat through it by myself. Not a lot of people there, and I see the attendance numbers, and I'm like, who lied?
Yeah, the Red Stars attendance numbers are not great,
and we all know why.
We all know why. We don't need to,
we don't need to talk about it. We all know why. We're just saying, hey, get your act together. Don't be surprised that your attendance numbers are bad. If you're surprised, look in the mirror. And this goes for a lot of other teams too. North Carolina, Portland. A lot of teams' numbers are down. Why? Look in the mirror. New topic.
I'm going to the Soldier Field one on the 30th, though.
I'm also going there because I'm working the game after.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to take... Okay, so I keep mentioning this on my show. Hopefully my boss doesn't listen to this. I told him I was taking off that day. So I do 50-50 for the Fire. And I also do TV producing for the Kane County Cougars. And we know which job holds more weight.
Sure.
And it's like, I don't want to miss like this historic event, because it is historic.
Absolutely.
The Red Stars playing at Soldier Field for the first time. And it's
there'll be Fire fans.
Yeah.
That will stay over for, because it's the doubleheader, and there'll be more than 3,000 attendance record.
There's hopefully going to be a lot of people there. I mean, San Diego is going to be in town, so everyone wants to see Alex Morgan.
Yep,
that's basically it. But there's other great players on San Diego besides Alex Morgan.
I think, hopefully, that with the return of Mal Pugh to the national team, because she was always there,
Yeah.
and then she got injured and kind of fell on the wayside. She still has an incredible fan base, like, of people. And the more people that realize that she's a Chicago Red Star, just as much as she's a player on the national team, hopefully, she'll start, scoring goals in the qualifiers, and then she'll, play well in the World Cup and the subsequent next Olympics, and maybe she'll grow an even bigger fan base. And if she's still on Chicago, let's all hope and pray that
She'll stay.
that maybe
She'll
maybe their attendance record will go up a little, because more people will want to go see U.S. women's national team star Mallory Pugh.
That's the dream, isn't it? And just
It's
for
the
like
dream.
every team.
Although
too,
it's not like it helped when Sam Kerr was there. Although Sam Kerr wasn't, the most popular player in the world while she was on the Red Stars. It was kind of after she was on the Red Stars.
Bad. That's way too
bad.
bad. I was a fan before her fame. Well, I'll just clarify here.
I was for like a game or two that I saw her play, and I was like, wow, she's great. And then,
I wish I got to see her play here. That's just like, I watched it on TV.
Yep, that's about it.
That's the only thing I can say. Hopefully one day I'll be able to go to London and see a Chelsea game at Kings Meadow, but
yeah, I'm a West Ham fan, so
yeah. Oh, not another one. Not another
one. I don't know any West Ham fans.
Okay. So my friends at the Final Third podcast, AJ and Jack, they go to the University of Minnesota, and AJ is a West Ham fan.
Really?
So there you go. There's another.
Right.
There's another one of them.
Next season, when they're actually on like the Paramount network and the CBS and all that jazz, with that new deal that they got with the WSL, hopefully I'll get to watch more than the three games that I got to watch this season for their women's team. I watched the men's team more often because they're on streaming more often. Hey, 7th place ain't bad.
Go Chelsea. Go Blues.
I love the lovable losers. I'm a Cubs fan as well, so there you go.
Boo. There's a lot of booing on today's show.
You invited me.
Okay. Moving on, I guess. I didn't know there would be talk like this today. I didn't know I'd be here with a Cubs fan. Here's another thing. If I have local people on, I'll ask them. One dude told me both. I was like, no, we're done. We're not doing this. You can't say both. It's either one or the other.
But you don't hate on them when they're in the World Series, though. You don't have to sit there and hate on them. Hey, in 2005, I was fine with the White Sox winning. At that point, it becomes
when that happened, so
I was
indifferent.
It becomes a Chicago thing more than a. I
was rooting for Cleveland in 16?
But they're a division rival of the White Sox. Why would you?
I don't care anything but the Cubs. Moving on. Anyway. Thoughts on the Challenge Cup, just in general. Like, do we like it? Do we not like it? How can we make it better if we don't like it?
I think the Challenge Cup needs to kind of integrate like other cups do in sports, in that it needs to play out throughout the season rather than being a preseason event. It helped that they added, money to it, which means we got to see a lot more of the big names actually play and try and work hard to try to make a living. But then injuries, like what was it? Marta went down first game.
Davidson,
season ending. Yeah,
Williams,
Davidson. Williams, yeah,
and then people.
Mewis a couple games in, and it's just like it was too short of an off season to then go into hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money if you win this thing, so try real hard. And they all tried really hard, and a lot of them got injured with a very short off season, and that wasn't great. And so I think it needs to just sort of be like let's integrate it into the season, expand the season, and then you can win the cup, and then you can win the final. you can do it that way. And I think it'll be better.
I like that. Kind of like what is going on in Europe's leagues. And I think we should model the season off of like what they do over there, because it's a lot easier.
Sure.
I guess it's more games, but like it's the same amount, I guess, in different time periods.
Exactly.
One thing that I find interesting, and this is like switching topics, the WNBA players don't even know they're playing Commissioner Cup games. So it's kind of like, I bet the NWSL would try and like not even tell them that's going on.
Yeah, because the last Sky game was a Commissioner Cup game, wasn't it?
Yeah. I had no idea either. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're doing that right now?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I think their last two were Commissioner Cup games. It's just strange.
Tell us.
They never said it on the broadcasts or anything, not to my knowledge.
No. See, this is misinformation in women's sports. Everybody's favorite category.
That's women's sports.
So I
misinformation or lack of information. That's the
it's bold. I made a tweet the other day.
Okay.
From one of my many accounts. I have 3 accounts now: my personal, my podcast, and my new. Did CRS
win? Love it.
Because I know the guy that runs the Did Chicago Win account, and we saw the Did ACFC Win account, and I was like, "Do you know who did this?" And he goes, "No, I have no idea." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he was like, "Oh, I wish someone made one for the Red Stars." And I thought about it. And I was like, what's another Twitter account? It's like I'm already on Twitter enough anyway. So I made it. That's me. Yeah. Go follow at Did CRS Win. They had a dub, by the way, the other day. So
go like that tweet. Too.
But I made a tweet and I said, who is your, I think it was like something along the lines of who is your MVP so far this season? If I can remember on my own tweet that I didn't even make that too long ago.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I will find it. There's not a lot of notifications here. I think maybe I should start planning my episodes out before I do stuff. So much scrolling, I guess. The Red Stars followed the account back, and I was like, whoa. Follow my podcast account back too, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
I used to know the guy that ran the Red Stars account, and now he does
Connor.
The Sky,
yeah.
Stuff. Okay, yeah. Who's been your MVP of the season so far? And this tweet was from 3 days ago, so you know that I'm really lagging today. And of course I had a reply to my own tweet, but from a different account, because that's how I roll. So I said Bianca St. George.
Yep.
Would you like to explain your answer?
What did I put?
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Alyssa
I love
Nair.
so many of these. Alyssa. Oh God. Yeah, she's great. I think she doesn't have a clean sheet yet, and that's disappointing, other than in the Challenge Cup. But that was, that was a game that no one was going to score in. And I think that a lot of the goals that she's conceded were not necessarily her fault. Or she could, essentially it was kind of like a 50-50 situation, like Morgan's PK against her. It was kind of like, this could go either way. I think she's going to block it or she's not. And then she stopped the PK in the last game, which was brilliant. But like every single save that she makes is just, I just want to yell. Like she's just so good. And when she was injured last season, Cassie Miller filled in, as best as anybody could, filling the shoes of Alyssa Nair, getting the team all the way to the finals, whether that was, Cassie Miller or Sarah Gordon and Tierna Davidson. We'll leave that.
The whole back line,
to a different. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. The whole back line was insane last year. But Alyssa Nair, her season this year, coming back from a major injury, has been great. Like the defensive breakdowns have been an issue, leading to goals. There's at least 2 goals that were offside and she couldn't really do much about. And then the other ones were deflections. off of Red Stars defenders. And it's just like, what are you going to do? She's going one direction, deflects, goes the other direction, and there's no way she's going to stop it. But I think she's been brilliant, and I think she'll continue to be brilliant. And when she was injured and, you know, other players were getting called into the national team and were like, you know, you can't, you know, Casey Murphy and Katie French and everything. It's like, oh, who needs Alyssa Nair on the national team? But it's like, you forget how great she is and what she did for this team in the 2019 World Cup, and you know what she's done her entire career in Chicago, and I think she just continues to be fantastic. I think my decision on MVP will change because certain players are coming back and are getting better and filling more into their roles, like Bianca St. George's and Mallory Pugh. That dynamic duo will be fantastic.
I am so excited that Sarah Lubert's coming back from Club America. I cannot tell you how excited I am.
So my Twitter account, which is very, very small and very, you know, I was just like, hey, I have a couple interactions with people. I love it. It's a great community, the Chicago Red Stars community, you know, talk to the, you know, supporter group all the time. The second I made a post about Sarah Lubert and Chelsea Dauber joining the team, my Twitter account blew up with fans from Mexico.
Yeah,
it exploded.
They're passionate.
And I loved every second of it. Like, interacting with those fans down in Mexico has been incredible. They love her so much. And it's like, they're sending me highlight videos. They're sending me her stats. They're sending me, you know, videos of her in the locker room singing and interacting with the other players. And they're like, you will love her, but also, you know, give her back. We want her. And, you know, the interaction's been great. And I think she'll be a great addition to this team, especially with the goal scoring, because we know how difficult that's been for this team while Pugh was injured.
Not yesterday.
Well, that's because Pugh came back and, and scored 2 goals and assisted on 1.
True. Yeah.
But her and Dauber, I think, will hopefully adjust to this team well. You know, neither of them have actually gotten, well, Lubert never any significant minutes in the NWSL. Dauber, first time she's ever even been in Chicago, you know, playing professionally, or even in Chicago in general. And so we know European players or players overseas from Australia, you know, how they're either really successful in the NWSL or they kind of fall to the wayside because they can't really adjust to their style of play in America. And so hopefully she can make that adjustment well, and Chicago's front line can develop into something really special.
Going back to what I said about BSG,
she's great.
I have been following what she's been doing for the Red Stars since the Challenge Cup. She's one of my favorites on the team. The disrespect from last year is all I'm gonna say without saying too much. With a player of that caliber, and just how tough she is on the field, how could you not play someone like her? I don't care about the yellow cards or any carding in general, because there's been instances. But you have to have someone on the field like her, and I'm glad that the new coach is playing her because she should be played. She deserves to be a starter. That is a fact.
She fits into this new formation very well as like a wing back, midfielder, attacker, whatever.
Anything and everything.
Yeah, just wherever she's standing on the field, she's in a different position. Like, that's just, you know, she fills it well. So did Wright before she was injured. I thought Rachel Hill did a really great job in the last match filling that position for Wright. But BSG, she has been so good this year. Her goals, both goals, are ridiculous. Like, and the
phenomenal.
one in the Challenge Cup was great too.
Yeah.
Her aggressiveness, like, the way she'll lose a ball, or a teammate will lose a ball, and she just gets pinpointed, like, I'm going to get that ball before anyone else. And if I have to barrel over anybody to get it, I will get it. And she, like, her shoulder checks, her ability to just turn on defenders to push them out of the way to get to 50-50 balls is just exciting to watch. And her explosiveness when she kicks ahead of the back line and then just runs past them with lightning speed is just so fun to watch. I would love her to get better at finishing. The last game was great to see, just that rocket off of her foot going to the far post was something that I would hope to see more. Most of her shots just kind of go sailing into the crowd over the crossbar, which is it's just like, there's another one.
Trademark.
But I think she'll get much better at finishing, and then she'll be a great player for this team for the rest of the season.
So for a new topic for this show, I would like to talk more about younger players. So we've seen the disrespect of the younger players in last season, which I say disrespect. It can mean a lot of things. You all know what I'm talking about. I don't have to talk about it. It's like you can say it without saying it type deal. But so many different younger players on the team. I mean, it is a younger team training away a lot of the vets that we had.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite younger star on the Red Stars? I think there's a good few that you can pick through. Give me one and why you think that they will be the most successful on this team going forward.
So most successful going forward, I really enjoy the forwards. I really like, Ava Cook, and I like Sarah Griffith, but I don't think that they will get significant minutes once, Sarah Lubert is here, and Chelsea Dauber, or, when Kalia Watt comes back from injury. They're not going to see much time, in my opinion, at all. I already purchased an Amanda Kowalski jersey because that new kit I did not like it in the begining, and it's grown on me. Still. It's grown on me, and I was like, I need to get an Amanda Kowalski kit, and I was like, it's got to be a new one. I had to get it, and it'll show up eventually. And I think when undrafted, like non-roster invitees like Tatum Milazzo, like Amanda Kowalski, when they can succeed, it's a joy to watch. Like when drafted players or big name players that come through the draft, not that Ava Cook or Sarah Griffith were big name players coming out of the draft in any means, because the Red Stars didn't even have a first round pick to get a bigger name. It's so much more fun to love those players, because their journey is just more incredible to watch, because it's like, I'm just going to show up to this camp and try as hard as I can as a player who no one thought was good enough to be drafted out of college, and a player like Tatum Milazzo last season filling into that fullback position, wing back, whatever, in that traditional 3-back for when Casey Kruger was out with her illness that turned into her pregnancy, was great. I loved it. And now Amanda Kowalski, I've fallen in love with her game. She plays the style of defense that I really enjoy, really aggressive, not so close to the style that Sarah Gordon played as center back, but it's like she takes risks. She takes a lot of risks, and I really enjoy that. And so she's become my favorite young player.
I really like that answer. I following undrafted players is pretty cool. I think my favorite is BetHer. Like her story is incredible. I'm kind of jumping on the OL bandwagon a little bit.
Yeah.
But OL's whole team I can go on and on about, but that's not what today is about.
Yeah.
Going back to
Bethany Balcer,
Yeah.
I'm from, like, I grew up in Michigan,
Mhm.
and her coming from, the division that she came from in college to make it to the NWSL, that, like, I loved every second of her story, and I follow her more than any player outside of the Chicago Red Stars. Her and Carson Pickett, but that's a different story about why I love Carson Pickett so much.
Both of them are incredible.
Yep.
Would love to have them on the show one day. I can dream. I can dream. Anyway, my answer to my question is Ella Stevens. And I was actually doing some research about Chicago Red Stars players last night. And I don't know if you know this, but I just learned this yesterday. Ella Stevens was the Gatorade Women's Soccer Player of the Year in, I believe, 2016, 2015 in Georgia.
No,
I had no idea.
I only started following women's college soccer last year, so
yeah, me too.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I had no idea, and that's in the high school level Gatorade Player of the Year.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's just like you don't know. No one tells you these things. Now I want to know how many players in the NWSL are Gatorade Women's Soccer National Player of the Year, or whatever the name of that stupid award is. It's not stupid. It's just when I get frustrated, I call things stupid. It's like I don't know the actual name of it.
Frustrated with yourself more than you are with the.
It's not a dumb name.
Yeah.
It's not a dumb name. I'm just being dumb because I don't know the real name of it. But that's so fascinating. Like, why don't we? Why isn't this, like, not to say that it's not public knowledge, because it is. Because I saw it yesterday online. But why don't, like, I'm just going to fixate on that for a while now. It's just, how do we not know that these players were good in high school? They were good in college. Now they're here. And then they get here's the disrespect word again. Because I'm mad at Arnhem. Arnhem and I are beefing. I would just like to say. He doesn't know it. I do. Enough said. But what are your thoughts on I don't even have to explain my choice because Stevens has been good. What are your thoughts on my pick?
I was surprised a little.
Well, thank you.
That I was also surprised that she got, like, a bigger role on this team than I thought she would.
I was surprised too. Believe me, I was shocked. I was like, whoa, she's starting a lot now? Okay.
She's been on the club for a few years.
Yeah.
And last year, I don't know if she got, I don't remember ever hearing her name. Or at least in a starting 11. I don't think she ever made it in.
It was more like late game subs.
Yeah. And I think she plays the 9 very well. I don't think she's necessarily like a true 9, like you see a lot of players that fill that position in the NWSL. But I think she plays inside the box very well. She drew that penalty in the last match, which was great. There's way too many penalties in the last, like, 15 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that pick a lot. I liked her challenge cup goal that didn't get wasn't a goal because she pushed it in with her hand when she fell on her face. That was very funny.
That was hilarious.
Her celebration after that was great. When you knew that she knew that it was going to be disallowed, but she
might as well celebrate. You
might as well, because the way that the way they miss calls in the NWSL, wouldn't be surprised if they actually allowed that goal.
They're all actors too, so
yeah, that's true. That's soccer. But I like that pick. Her, just like the other players that I mentioned earlier, I think her minutes are going to go down
Unfortunately.
Watt's more of like a wing player.
When all the attackers come in.
When all the attackers come back, I don't know
Yeah.
when Watt is coming back. I know that, ACL injuries are kind of just a different thing for different people, different timeline.
We don't have a timeline for when
and they'll
she's
never
coming
tell
back.
us. They'll never tell us.
They don't like to tell us things.
No, it's women's sports. No one tells us anything.
Misinformation or no information.
No, exactly. But like a player like Sarah Lubert, who can play, in the middle very well, in the middle of the front line, that is very well. I think she'll get more minutes there alongside players like Pugh. And I think the younger players will be more on that right side of the front line. Maybe Ava Cook will remain in that 9, and they'll kind of push Sarah Lubert more out wide. Maybe they'll even push Stevens out wide. I know for a fact that they're going to sort of play Yuki kind of further into the midfield more than anything now. They did that in the Orlando game. They kind of played Cook up top and kind of just had Yuki and Griffith just staying in the kind of like offensive attacking midfield, whereas DiBernardo and Colaprico were playing the defensive midfield. And so they didn't have like a massive attack in that game, and until the end when they kind of changed their formation when Pugh came into the game. But I like your answer of Stevens. I hope that she remains getting consistent minutes, at least at the end of games, but I don't think she'll be in the starting 11 once players start to flood this roster back.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate because she's good. I don't think she's, the most amazing player there is, but I love all the Chicago Red Stars, and I'll never say a bad thing about any of them. So
yes, me too. I will say bad things about Arnhem. Sorry, there was something in my throat. I had a little cough.
Yeah, I didn't understand the words that were coming through that cough. If
you want to hear me beef with the NWSL owners, go to my podcast account on Twitter. Do you want to know a fun fact?
Sure.
A certain NWSL owner did in fact block me on Twitter.
Really?
Do you want to guess which one it was?
Oh God. Owner or former owner?
Owner.
Oh.
Currently still there, even though he shouldn't be.
Up in Portland?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Merritt and I are beefing too, but he blocked me on my podcast account. That doesn't mean I can't go bother him on my personal.
Oh, sure. That's why we all make several Twitter accounts. So
that's why I have 3 of them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do a fun little topic, or we'll call this, like, I guess it could be a game or whatever, like a fun little thing. So
Sure.
In the new CBA, there is like an AllStar Game like section.
Mhm.
If each team got 2 selections for AllStar, because I don't know how the numbers would work. I don't know who they would play against. I don't know if they would play against each other, whatever. Red Stars get 2 people to represent them for the AllStar Game. Going off of what we've seen in the Challenge Cup and the start of the regular season, who would your 2 picks be to be on the All-Star team?
My 2 picks, one is Mallory Pugh, obviously. That's just
Obviously.
you can't leave her.
Yeah.
I mean, she played, what was she, second in MVP voting last season? She killed it in the Challenge Cup, probably would have won the Golden Boot without her injury.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, I want to say Alyssa Nair, but I know at the moment there are goalkeepers that would definitely be named above her, especially because there's one goalkeeper on every team, and if there were going to be 2 or maybe 3 on that roster, maybe she could be
I don't think
in
she
there.
Would be. Just going off of
Right
what we've
now,
seen. No way.
No. especially with what Tallest Joyce is doing.
Absolutely.
And
Number one
Adol
pick.
Rain is she's been incredible. So I don't think I could pick Nair. The other one would probably be just because of her effort, and I love her style of play, and I love everything that she does on the field, mistakes or not. And she'll never get the recognition that she deserves. It's Danielle Colaprico. I think she's great. She just hit her 10,000th minute
10,000 minutes
in the NWSL. She's been with the Chicago Red Stars forever. She does all the dirty work for that team that will never, go noticed. So I don't think that she would get the recognition, but I would want her to get the recognition. And then, the rookies and stuff, they'll never get the recognition either. So I can't name any of them either. But BSG probably would be my second choice because, she's just been as incredible as everyone was hoping that she would be. But it should be Danny. That's all I'll say.
I'm going BSG and Mallory Pugh because everyone knows how I feel about BSG. It's her summer. And you can't bet against Mallory Pugh. No,
that she's not my favorite player on the team, but without her, this team we've seen struggles a little.
Like last year, I was at the Gotham Chicago game, the playoff game, and honestly, if we never traded for Waldmo and Pugh, like we would have been a whole different team.
I love Sarah Waldmo. I'm so happy for her, having a kid and everything. Not a lot of players in the NWSL have kids. That's well known, and it's great that they can go on these long maternity leaves and not have to worry. But if she was on this club right now, that midfield would look a whole lot better. Whole lot better than it has been. She's a fantastic player. That trade from Gotham to get Pugh and Waldmo was the best trade that they've made in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Because I don't know where they would be without those two players last year. And I certainly don't know where they would be without one of them this year.
Yeah. The team has just been different. And it's because of those two. And if people disagree, I am a little curious as to why that would be so. Let us know on Twitter. Do it at WSM Podcast. Tell us if you disagree or not. I would like to know. But the team is different because of those two. And that goal would have never happened, by the way, in that playoff game if it wasn't for them. So
absolutely not.
There you go. There's your answer. Final answer. Okay. We're going to do a little speed run before we talk about our final topic. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you were to get a Chicago Red Stars related tattoo, what would you get and why?
Well, first I have a Chicago
I saw
flag
that
tattoo,
but like
on
the
my
team
arm
related.
already. But team related,
yes.
What would I get? Oh, that's so hard because it's just I really one day would like to turn this entire arm that has the Chicago flag on it, have all of the Chicago professional sports teams on there as well.
That's a lot.
But what would I get related to them? See, I never want to get anything like player specific because that always makes me really nervous. Because they're people and that things can go public with people, and I never want to make something permanent that way. But it would probably just have to be the logo, maybe even the alt logo, the star with the like half or 3/4 shield around it. I really like that symbol. That's cool too. I don't think I would get anything player specific.
Going back in the day, could be when the Red Stars were first started, not in the NWSL. Who is a player's jersey that you would get from that time period?
From 2013. Oh God, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, because there's so many players that have been on the Chicago Red Stars who are very good players, like very good.
So this should be easy for you.
No, because there's so many. Julie Ertz was a Red Star. Kristen Press was a Red Star. I think who was it that I saw the other day that kind of blew my mind that they were a Red Star? I can't remember who it was, but I was doing research on some team and I was like, they were a Red Star.
What was it? What were you looking?
I think it was North Carolina.
North Carolina. Like current North Carolina players?
Like a current North Carolina player, I think was a Red Star. I can't remember who it was.
Was it Abby?
It might have been Abby Urseg.
Yeah, she was a Red Star. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that until maybe a week ago.
A lot of people were Red Stars.
Because she was on the Red Stars for like what, a year? Like 2014.
It wasn't that long.
Like that. Yeah, it was not that long. But I was just like, Abby Urseg. I would have loved to have Abby Urseg.
Is that your answer?
Oh yeah, she's a great player. I really like North Carolina. It sucks that they're in 12th. Okay, so there's a player on North Carolina that I don't like at all.
We all don't
knows,
like,
and nobody likes her. And when Carson Pickett was out, I was very upset that she filled Carson Pickett's role. Yeah, Carson Pickett is by far my favorite player outside of the Red Stars, and I would die for Carson Pickett to be a Red Star. But
honestly,
she never was,
same.
and she
Let's
never will be. I don't think she ever will be. She loves North Carolina too much, but she should be on the women's national team, and I will make that campaign forever. But my answer would be Abby Urseg. I think Abby Urseg is an incredible player, and I would get her kit if I was a Red Stars fan in 2014.
Okay. Final question. If you were going to start an expansion team and you had the ability to take 2 current Red Stars from the team and put them on your expansion team, who would you pick and why?
I would take Tierna Davidson, and I would take Kalia Watt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Even though she's not currently back right now and we don't know.
That's fine.
Like
Kalia Watt was the first Red Star that I watched and got me into the team. Like when I watched the 2020 Challenge Cup, I saw Kalia Watt play, and her speed and her ability to get past defenders and just be in a wide open field and to score goals. And I was like, this player is incredible. How long has she been a Red Star? And it was a couple of games because, her entire career before that, I think, was spent on Houston. And Mallory Pugh was playing opposite of her. And I was just like, I could get into this team and enjoy and get attached to them with their best player in Mallory Pugh, or I can pick someone else and, invest my fandom in them and not be one of those people that only likes the best player on the team. So I picked Kalia Watt, and I think she's fantastic. And I really, really wish that she didn't get injured in that playoffs, because I think the Red Stars could have won the championship. Although I don't know if I'd want them to win the championship last year, because then that would have been like really awkward if they won and then all that stuff happened. But anyway, I wish Kalia Watt was on this team, and I would take her to any expansion team that I would start, but never in my life put me in charge of a club, because it would just be the same. It would be the same players all the time, unless they wanted to get, unless they requested a trade, it would be the same players all the years, because I'm way too sentimental about the players, and I wouldn't be able to trade away anybody to improve my team.
Well, good thing these are just questions and not
Just
like
questions.
real life decisions.
You're not giving me millions of dollars to start an
Yeah.
expansion team. I get it. That's fine.
Okay, before we get to the end of the show, I'm going to send it over to Derek Helling, who will tell you about what's going on this week in the world of women's sports betting. Take it away, Derek.
Hello, thank you for listening to the Women's Sports Matter podcast. I'm Derek Helling, and I'm not Gianna's dad. I'm here to talk to you again about betting on women's sporting events this week and how to do that responsibly and safely. Safe betting is legal betting. Just because you can access a sportsbook online doesn't mean that it's safe or even legal for you to do so. Many Canadian provinces and U.S. states, plus Washington, D.C., have a licensing system for sportsbooks. Why is it important to only use licensed sportsbooks? Aside from the legality issue, of course, the regulation of these sportsbooks ensures that you have access to a fair and safe betting experience. Unregulated sportsbooks answer to no authority, and thus there is really nothing to stop them from doing things like refusing to pay out your winnings if you win a bet, or sell your personal information to you don't know who. So it's really, 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 really risky to use an unregulated sportsbook. So, moving on to, let's talk about how sports betting works. And this week, we're going to be approaching a new topic because we're going to be looking at how match play betting on golf works. Match play is when pairs of golfers play individual matches between themselves, eliminating the losers until there's just one winner left standing at the end, instead of tournaments in which all players face the rest of the field over several rounds with the lowest score at the end winning. So, for example, a Jin Yun Ko might face Lydia Ko in a match, and the winner moves on to perhaps face Celine Boutier in another match, and the process repeats until at the end of the match play event there's just one winner who has survived all of her matches. So, thus, when you're approaching events like this, you need to adjust your approach to betting accordingly. For example, you should look to see if pairs of golfers have faced each other in match play before in their careers, and if so, how they did. You can also broaden it to look at how golfers have fared in match play in general over the course of their careers. And then, it's also important to look at how individual golfers have performed on the specific course in which the match play is going to be held, and then compare that to other golfers' performances on the same course. Now, speaking of what's on tap for us this week to bet on, Roland Garros, also known as tennis's French Open, is now in full swing, and daily match lines are available at Canadian and U.S. licensed sportsbooks. And going back to our topic of how to bet this week, match play returns to the LPGA this Wednesday through Sunday with a Bank of Hope presented by MGM Rewards, coming to you from fabulous Las Vegas. Lines should be available very soon for the pairings, for the first round pairings for that tournament on your favorite regulated Canadian or U.S. sports betting app. The NWSL continues with single matches on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, followed by 3 matches on Sunday this week. Check your books that you like the mornings of those matches for lines on those affairs. And the WNBA season is ongoing as well, with games every day this week except for on Monday. That's all this week, but remember that betting previews plus information on how to gamble responsibly and legally from wherever you're at in North America is available at BetHer.com. That's BET-HER.com. Once again, I'm Derek Helling, and I am not Gianna's dad.
We are at the end of the show. So for the final part of today's show, I just want you to tell people listening how they can get more involved in the world of women's soccer in terms of the NWSL. Tell them a little bit more like fun facts about the Red Stars or who to watch or like things like that.
So there's a multitude of things you can do. One is watch the games. It's hard to get people specifically involved because some games don't go great, other games are fantastic, and if you show someone like the wrong game, it'll lose their fandom forever. But on Twitter, the women's soccer community is so far, my experience with it has been fantastic. I love how much everyone kind of just enjoys women's soccer, and it's not this beef between clubs or fandom or people hating on other players because they're too good and they're beating their team, and people trolling on other fans or fan accounts because they like certain players. It's just everyone just loves women's soccer and everyone has a good time and everyone just enjoys it. And if you watch the games, specifically the last Red Stars game, the one against Orlando Pride, it can be one of the most exciting sports to watch. Things happen in the NWSL that don't happen in other soccer leagues in the world that just kind of blow your mind, and you go, what is happening right now? This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in sports, one of the wackiest things I've ever seen in sports. And it's not the most accessible sport out there. Obviously you can get Paramount Plus and you can watch whatever games stream on there. There's like a few games that get put on CBS Sports Network or CBS if you have some sort of cable or streaming cable like YouTube TV or Hulu TV or whatever. And then some games are on Twitch. And I know people have had some issues with Twitch broadcasts before, but my experience with them has been fine. But you can also just follow anybody like Gianna here. She loves her women's sports, and you can follow me at Red Stars Report. I live tweet every Red Stars game with my my crazy weird facts and my annoyance with certain things that are happening in the game and my incredible excitement that happens in the games. And I interact with everyone that possibly interacts with my content. I just love talking to people about women's sports because this community is great, and I think people just need to invest more in women's sports. So if you get involved in it, we can all just raise this community and this the world of women's sports to a higher level.
What a great answer. What a way to end the show. Logan, thank you so much for coming on Women's Sports Matter. I really appreciate it. Make sure to go follow Red Stars Report on Twitter and tell everyone the username again one more time so they can make sure to type it in their phones.
It is at Red Stars Report.
Too easy.
Too easy. I made it too easy. I made it alliterative, and everyone knows how to find it because it has the team's name in it.
There you go. And I hope to certain local 134 folks that this makes up for my fake segment that I created on Twitter, because I was never, not to say I was never going to do it. I literally made the episode. I saw the tweet and I was like, I forgot to do the segment. But here's something.
And
Today, which is I'm traveling forward in time. Today on May 24th, it is the Chicago Sky ring ceremony and banner ceremony, which I will be at. I am awesome. So excited to go. I'm literally, I just can't wait to rock my Parker jersey and to just have a blast at a Sky game. I haven't been to one since the Dallas playoff game. So that one, there wasn't a lot of people there. And then you see sold out crowds for the finals. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess people care now.
Yep. And I'll be at home rocking my Sloop jersey.
There we go. But that is, I guess, are there any Red Stars games this week? Are there any of that?
No, not during the week. There's May 28th.
May 20. There you go. May 28th. I would be there, but
Portland at home. Portland hasn't been great this year, so we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, we'll see what the starting lineup is, but that is gonna be it for me. And thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Women's Sports Matter podcast. My name is John Castro, and I'm your host. If you want to follow me on social media, guess what? You can. I am on 3 different platforms on Twitter and Facebook. It is the same handle. It is at WSM Podcast. And on Instagram, you can follow me at Women's Sports Matter. If you want to watch this episode, whoa, you can see the people that are on the screen. Of course you can. Go to YouTube. It's Women's Sports Matter Podcast. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be posting more content on there. That is not just episodes. So stay tuned for that. I think I might make a TikTok. Let me know if I should do that. I'll post little snippets of episodes. I don't know how TikTok works really. I feel kind of like, because I'm young, but I'm also like supposed to know how social media works. I don't. So make sure to let me know on Twitter if I should make a TikTok or not. And if you would go and follow it. Let's see, what else is there? Make sure to go support your local women's sports team, whether it's the Chicago Red Stars or the Boston Renegades, or let's see, what are some teams here? Dutch Lions FC, Chicago City, Chicago Kicks. Those are a bunch of local women's soccer teams, at least in Northern Illinois. I don't know that much about Central and Southern because it doesn't exist in my mind. Which is a joke, and if you don't understand the joke, you can go listen to me on Bryant and Me. Okay, there you go. But I think that is it. Go support your local women's sports team, and I'll see you next time. All right, see you later. That's all, folks. Bye-bye.